SGC here, and we're back for a movie review, Demolition. Directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, the guy that brought Wild and Dallas Buyers Club. He comes back with a new type of story with Jake Gyllenhaal, Naomi Watts, Chris Cooper, and Judah Lewis, and everyone else check down below. So what's this film about? Well, basically it's about Jake losing his wife all of a sudden, and now he's in his grief process, and through that process he has to deal with the problems that he has with his father-in-law, played by Chris Cooper, and the whole movie sort of revolves around something that Cooper said to him, was that sometimes you need to break things apart to figure out what's wrong with it, sort of thing. And that's whole thing leads to Jake meeting Naomi Watts and Judah Lewis's characters, and they have a relationship in a sense through friendship and just dealing with grief and all that stuff. And that's basically the entire film. So what did I think? Well, first off, I really love how Jean-Marc Vallée really knows how to present real life struggles to real life problems. With Dallas Buyers Club, you had Matthew McConaughey as an AIDS victim, patient, and just how did he deal with life as an AIDS person. And then Wild, you had Reese Witherspoon, who had to deal with her sex addiction and her problems with just the people around her. And now this time you have Jake Gyllenhaal, who has to deal with grief and just the realization of, did he really love his wife, sort of thing. And I really did enjoy that. He really captures those moments, and it's sad to say that out of the three movies, Demolition is not seen as great compared to the other two, because I really enjoyed it in a sense where it really captured that essence of having to deal with grief and all that. I mean, cinematography wise and sort of the scope of the story, I think Dallas Buyers Club and Wild lend itself in a world where it was very different, and you saw a lot of new things, and it was a lot more attractive in a sense. Because we don't have many of those movies, so it was a world where we don't really deal with, and it was a body transformation for McConaughey, so it's like, whoa, interesting stuff, check it out. And then in Wild, you had the luscious environments, and just Reese Witherspoon playing such a not her typical sort of role, so that was there. But in Demolition, you have just grief in a sense, where that's been sort of dealt with in more movies than the other two with their subject matters. And also, Gyllenhaal's performance isn't that stand out in terms of his own sort of career. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it's not comparative in a sense to, say, I don't know, Nightcrawler or Prisoners, where it was just really stand out different and people just liked it. Here is more subtle, and I enjoyed it actually for its subtleness and just the way that he dealt with what he dealt with. So with all that said, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie. The characters were great. Their foiling was great. Their interactions, just learning from each other. Judah Lewis was a great addition to the cast for sure. I mean, you have Chris Cooper, who was playing this sort of, I try to care about you, but what the hell are you doing? I don't know what to do with you type of father-in-law. Naomi Watts is just having a messed up relationship, and then you have this person that's just clearly a lot better than the man you have, but you know, it's that type of character. And then Judah Lewis is this kid who's just misunderstood, doesn't really know how to express himself, and when he does, he gets shot down, sort of thing. And I really did enjoy Judah Lewis's and Jake Gyllenhaal's interaction with each other. I really love how they dealt with the whole swearing issue and coming out issue. Like, those conversations, I swear, feels very authentic and a very sort of realistic, honest way to deal with how you would deal if a kid asks you, what if I'm gay, or a kid who swears excessively. And I really love those two scenes. And overall, I mean, this is a character-wide, interaction-driven story, whereas I feel Dallas Buyers Club and Wild was sort of an inner struggle, inner realization. Sure, they dealt with other people, but it was more of a inner thing. Whereas here, it was Judah Lewis's foiling and just, I don't know, feedback sort of thing that grew Gyllenhaal's character and to realize what he really lost. And I really like that. That story was just great in that sense. I mean, in terms of cinematography, it's rather lackluster. Cool when he breaks down things, but beyond that, it's very generic. It's not stand out in a sense. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it's an honest sort of way of how a man would grieve when his wife just died. He's in shock. He questions his relationship. So I mean, it's very story driven rather than look at all these world stuff, or it looks really nice. So I think that's sort of a thing that could be against this movie. I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I don't feel that there is any major problems. I mean, the whole salary type of man, I mean, the whole office worker thing, rich guy sort of thing, could have been explored more in a sense, as in how did he cope with his life and his job, what kind of person he was. He could have expanded on that. That could have been a welcome expansion on. But then I liked how we knew really little about Jake Gyllenhaal's character prior to his marriage and all that, and you just take him as face value, and I enjoy that. So yeah, I'm rambling now. I enjoyed it. I mean, when I look up the ratings or reviews, some reviews say they can't connect with him as much, or they can't like him, and I feel it's strange, because why would you? Because, I mean, you can't connect. He's going through grief. That is different from person to person, and he's not there for you to like. You're just literally just taking him and seeing how he reacts to his wife's death, and I think that's all you need. And I think what Jean-Marc Vallée came out to do, he did it very well. And yeah, so that is it. I enjoyed it. Demolition, check it out. Gyllenhaal is continuously, making great strides in terms of his acting career. His range is great and all that. And definitely, I mean, it's worth a watch. It's Jake Gyllenhaal. And the cast is great. Judah Lewis is great. Naomi Watts is great. I didn't really talk about her character much because she does what she does. It's not majorly standout, but it's what you expect from her. And yeah, so that is it. And as always, if you have seen Demolition, leave your comments down below and I will reply to you as soon as possible. And that is it for this movie review for Demolition. Out!